What I like is a little voter guidance every now and again. This week, we're going to, not one, but two voter guides. Senate candidate Tim Sheehy and Senator Jon Tester. They've recorded responses to specific questions. And AARP Montana kicks it off this week with a number of questions. Number one would be like, why are you running? This is our voter guide from AARP Montana. We'll launch into this today. We have got elections. We've got decisions to make here. And AARP Montana, appreciate the partnership with them. The candidates have recorded responses, and I like that. They like it. They can do it on their own time. It's not necessarily a debate, but we do ask specific questions. We've been doing this a number of years. We kick it off with AARP Montana first, just to talk about our candidates a little bit. U.S. Senator Jon Tester, third-generation Montana farmer, reading this off his website, grandfather, former school teacher, and chairman of the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee, and chairman of the Senate Appropriations Subcommittee on Defense, also served on the Banking Committee. Still farms a tract near Big Sandy, Montana. That's where his grandparents homesteaded. And then for Tim Sheehy, graduate of the naval class of 2008, he, off his website here, a father, a husband, combat veteran, a patriot, and an entrepreneur. He completed several deployments and hundreds of missions as a Navy SEAL officer, including deploying to Iraq, Afghanistan, South America, and the Pacific region. And in 2014, founded Bridger Aerospace in his barn with all his savings and an all-veteran team, and that has grown into a very successful business. That's some of the background for these Senate candidates. We'll talk more as we continue this series this week. But first off, and to our elected official, Senator Jon Tester, the AARP Montana voter guide, question number one is, Senator Tester, why are you running for office?
The Montana we know and love is changing. Everything is getting more expensive as out-of-state multimillionaires move here and buy up second and third houses to turn Montana into their personal playground. With so much changing, Montanans have to have somebody in the Senate who's willing to fight for our Montana way of life. I still farm the land just outside Big Sandy, Montana, that my grandparents homesteaded more than 100 years ago. I see the changes that are going on in Montana every day. Montana needs somebody back in Washington, D.C. who understands rural America. Someone who fights for our freedoms and goes to bat for our veterans, our family farms and ranches, our working families, our teachers, our Main Street businesses, and our Montana seniors. Someone who will always protect Social Security and Medicare. I am proud to be endorsed by groups like the National Committee to Preserve Social Security and Medicare, the Montana Alliance for Retired Americans, and Social Security Works. I'm running to keep up the fight to ensure Montana seniors can enjoy their retirement years with dignity and independence, and to make sure our kids and grandkids can grow up in the same Montana we know and love. Montana is the greatest state in the greatest country in the world, and I'll always defend it.
That's three-term Senator Jon Tester from the state of Montana. Now his challenger this year is Tim Sheehy. As I mentioned, I gave a bit of his bio earlier, and we'll roll right into this, the AARP Montana voter guide. The question is, Mr. Sheehy, why are you running for office?
I never considered entering politics until Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal, washing away the sacrifices made by our family and our closest friends. As a father to 4 young children, this failure marked an inflection point. As a former Navy SEAL who served in Afghanistan, Iraq, and elsewhere, my wife served as a Marine. The decision to run for U.S. Senate was tough, but when your country calls, you must answer. I'm in this race because we need a new generation of conservative leaders who will work with President Trump to put America first. We need new leaders to save our country from the career politicians who run for office after office, go to D.C. to get rich, and lecture us about fighting for you while our problems only get worse. After 18 years in Washington, Jon Tester has failed to secure the border, failed to deliver veterans a functioning VA, failed to stand up to adversaries like China, failed to fight back against the liberals' job-killing energy agenda, failed to balance the budget, and votes for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris' agenda every single time it matters. Montana is ground zero this election to take back the U.S. Senate, and we need to seize this opportunity and win this seat. The very fate of the country and our children's future depends on it. Our country is asking all of us to do our part. I'm running for the U.S. Senate because when you feel called to serve, you step up and serve. We have an opportunity this November to secure our children's future and save America by defeating Jon Tester and Kamala Harris. Let's take it.
Tim Sheehy, once again, Senate candidate, challenging Jon Tester here in the state of Montana for that Senate seat, which, as he noted, a very important national, so a lot of national implications here. So we are going now to question number 2 of our AARP Montana voter guide, and we'll have the challenger Tim Sheehy go first. And the question is, research shows that 112,000 Montana family caregivers provide $1.76 billion in unpaid care a year. I think a lot of us can see ourselves in that. Helping older loved ones live independently. If you're elected, how would you support family caregivers, many of whom are juggling work and family? Tim Sheehy.
There's nothing more important than family, and often family members are the ones you turn to for help, whether it's help on the farm or ranch or helping our older loved ones. Especially in rural Montana, family is everything. We've got to ensure family caregivers have an economic environment that is friendly and makes life easier. To not only work to provide for immediate family, but also to provide care for our elder loved ones. And where we can, we've got to find common sense ways to get the government out of the way to allow more family caregivers to fulfill their mission and increase access to care for more Montana seniors. Often family caregivers serve at their own cost, struggling to juggle family and work. Nobody should have to be forced to choose between taking care of their family and making ends meet. That's why we must ensure caregivers have the financial resources they need. We should also look at tax incentives for family members that are providing much needed care to their older loved ones. We've got to defeat inflation, lower the cost of care, and bring down the rising costs that are eating away at the budgets of every Montana family. That means working to end the out-of-control spending and the disastrous economic policies that are crushing Montana families. We want all Montanans to age with dignity and remain in their communities with their families. That's why we must ensure seniors have access to affordable long-term care options that work best for them and their families. As Senator, I will always fight for all Montana families and put Montana first.
That's Tim Sheehy, Senate candidate, in this question regarding family caregivers on the AARP Montana Voter Guide. Now we have Senator Jon Tester. Research shows, Senator Tester, that 112,000 Montana family caregivers provide $1.76 billion in unpaid care a year, helping older loved ones live independently. If elected, how would you support family caregivers, many of whom are juggling work and family?
Every Montana senior deserves the opportunity to live and retire in the communities they love, whether that means having access to a skilled nursing facility or receiving caregiving support from a family member in their own home. Montana seniors have the right to retire with dignity. Family caregivers are a critical part of that and play an important role in our communities, and I will always support them. As chairman of the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee, I'm specifically working hard to expand caregiver benefits for the families of Montana's veterans. With your help, we will pass my bipartisan Elizabeth Dole Home Care Act, which provide veterans the flexibility to be cared for by their loved ones or providers of their choosing from the comfort of their own homes. In Montana, where veterans often have to travel long distances for health care, making sure aging and disabled veterans have options to remain closer to home with caretaking help from a family member is absolutely critical. This bill will help ensure veterans and caretakers have the resources they need to live comfortably. Family caregivers play a critical role in helping our seniors live and retire happily, and I'll always fight to ensure they get the support they need.
Senator Jon Tester, again in response to a question from the AARP Montana Voter Guide about family caregivers, also heard from Tim Sheehy.